Uh, Hi class, it's Mr. Jordan. Um, uh, I'm making a video just to kind of talk about going into next week. So we have, hopefully we got through the first week of uh, class okay. It's a little weird, for me at least, not being able to talk to you, face to face or at least in some form. But I hope it's going okay. Um, so for this next week, you're going to watch a video from Dr. Daniel Warria, who's the director of the comp program at OSU. He goes over one of the stories in the book called Bath Time, and um, there wasn't really a need for me to kind of make a new video to kind of go over that because he did such a good job. So you'll need to watch that whole video. It's about 22 minutes long. He also goes over the assignments that you'll have to do for this next week. Some other things is that with this focus on narrative, you might have some questions about what can go into the narrative, or perhaps if the narrative is a little bit more fraught, what is appropriate or whatever. And the basic answer to that is whatever you feel comfortable with, um, and whatever you feel like is right for you to put in the narrative, right? So narratives can become more personal, right? And so I want to encourage you to put in whatever you feel comfortable with, right? Whatever details. And of course, this narrative, you can change some of the details, right? It needs to be based on kind of a real event, but you can maneuver the details in a way, in any way you see fit, right? As long as it makes sense, as long as it is kind of reflecting the world or the events in some way that the reader can follow, then you're good, you know. But Dr. Daniel Warrior's video will talk about this too, but make sure to just be considerate of the details that you put in and consider what will move your narrative forward and why you're doing the things that you're doing. So much of writing, and I think so much of the world, both in the academic world and in the real world, right? The academic world is the real world, but the world of outside of school, right? So much of those, what's important in both environments is knowing why you're doing something, right? And so with the narrative, right, you want to have a reason why you're utilizing each detail or why you're changing perspective. You need to know why you're doing that, right? And if that's the one thing that you learn from this paper or from this class even, is to recognize why you're doing the things that you're doing, then I will consider this a success, right? Because understanding why we're doing a thing and being able to explain it to somebody else, the steps, well, I did this because I wanted to demonstrate this, right? That allows you to be articulate about the processes, and that can be useful for all kinds of different things, whether you go into starting your own business or whether you become a writer, or whether you become a scientist, or all kinds of different things, right? Being able to explain to somebody else in a cogent manner, right? Okay, this is why I did this, right? And in a narrative, it will be kind of whenever I read it, if I have to ask, okay, why did they change perspective here? And I ask you, and the reason's not clear in the narrative, right? I may ask you, okay, well then we'll need to clear it up in the narrative, right? So even if you understand why you're doing something, right, that's the first step, but then kind of demonstrating that to the reader, right? So if you have any questions about that, about your narrative, about what's going into it, then make sure to ask. So for this week, you'll do the assignments. Next week will be review week. So I have different things set up. So for both of my classes, but basically what's going to happen is that there's going to be some sort of review that you'll go through, and you can meet with me for both classes. Probably for this first paper, I'm going to have everyone go ahead and meet with me in some kind of either Discord chat or Zoom meeting or something like that, to where we can talk about, hey, how's class going? With it being, asynchronous, how are you dealing with that? How is your first couple weeks of school going okay? Just so I can get to know you a little bit and to know where you are and how you're dealing with things, right? And then also, get to know where you are on the paper. Another thing that you'll need to consider is that not this upcoming Monday, but the Monday after. So that is, here, just a second, let me check my calendar. The date for that would be Monday the 31st. So not Monday the 24th, but Monday the 31st. That will be when your rough draft will be due for your paper. So make sure to look at the labor assessment guidelines for that. You'll have to turn in a rough draft if you want to get at least the B. Some form of rough draft for the C. So make sure that you're keeping up on that. And if you're having trouble kind of finishing up the drafts, then talk to me. But you have a whole week to kind of consider some of the things, and some of the assignments will for this next week will touch upon, okay, what do you need for your draft? So make sure to be considering that. Don't leave that until the last moment. Prioritize your things. If you have something else, do it for another class. Maybe you do need to leave this until a later moment, right? But I don't want you stressing out about anything for this class. So make sure that you're kind of parceling out your time to where you won't be stressing out. Okay, trying to remember if there's anything else I need to cover. No, I don't think so. If I think of anything, I'll let you know. Make sure if you need to ask me questions and you didn't get the Discord invite for whatever reason, make sure to let me know. That's there for your use, right? So if you have a quick question, right, just kind of jump into the Discord and type it out for me real quick. It's there for you to utilize, right? It's optional, right? So if you don't want to utilize it, don't worry about it. Other than that, I hope you have a good week. If you have any questions, make sure to contact me. I hope your first week of classes went well. That's always hard in any semester. I mean, it's hard for me, but especially in these kind of strange circumstances. Okay, I'll talk to you later.